TAFE Radio, your campus, your station, your voice. That was Beyond Sense with Dreams. I'm Giovanna, and with me it's Alina. We are here live for South by Southwest Sydney at the ACC. Alina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, thank you. It's busy today,
It
yeah?
is so busy. And today we have a guest. So every industry has its so-called rules. But what if those rules are exactly what's holding us back? Joining us today is Alex Myers, CEO and founder of Manifest Group, the global brand agency known for breaking conventions and building bold culture shifting campaigns. From starting Manifest in his living room to leading a multi award winning global team, Alex believes success comes from breaking the rules everyone else follows. So, is there any rules that you've broken today here at South by Southwest already?
That's a good question. I think that I'm aware of, no. Although I think I broke a few rules in terms of the talk I gave today, in that I didn't follow my own script at all, and just end up, I think, having a conversation with the audience more than presenting anything. But I'm not sure that's a rule break or a rule bend. Not sure.
True, because I find that when you're kind of organically creating those moments with people, I feel like that's, I don't know, more authentic. I don't know. What would you say?
Yeah, I think that's it. It depends what you're looking for, doesn't it? About, I guess, what's the objective of your talk? And I think if it's an authentic connection with your audience, then you kind of have to be able to read the room to some extent.
Yeah, and I think that takes a lot of good intuition.
When we come to the rules, what's the rule which we all need to break?
Oh, I think understanding that it's possible to break any rule. I think just looking at things with real curiosity and saying, okay, well, when we approach like the creative process, we don't need to look at any scripts or any standards or any status quo as something that has to be followed. I think the question isn't can you break that rule, it's more how and why. And I think really, I guess the breaking of the rule is that, understanding rules are protocols, but progress only comes from breaking them.
That's kind of true, but it's really tricky because sometimes yes, you are stuck in some kind of script, but breaking the rules, you need to be brave to break the rules, and you need to really have some confidence there. It's very hard when you are at the beginning and we're new in any industry, and you need to break the rules. Yeah.
I agree and disagree. I think confidence, yeah, but I don't think you need to be brave to break the rules. I think it's common sense. I feel like part of what we need to get over as marketers and in the creative industry is this idea that somehow new is dangerous and brave. And I know because as marketers, we have an ego and we want to pretend we're brave. We're not brave. Firemen are brave. We're selling mayonnaise. But I think the truth is, if you are doing something new and innovative, that's actually where the safety hangs out. Like if you're doing the same thing you did last year for a bit less money and expecting different results, that's where the bravery hangs out as far as I'm concerned. And I think sometimes it's this idea of safety that's the problem. That safety exists within rules when actually it's actually much safer to try something new because no one's done that before. And every single marketer, every single campaign, every single brand we follow and look at as a star in the ascendant are doing something no one else has done before. It's fresh snow. I think it's really brave to try and do what everyone else is doing, but a bit better. That's much harder to do. And I guess middle of the road and mediocrity is a road traffic accident waiting to happen, right? Like change happens at the edges. And I think part of what we need to get over is that breaking the rules is somehow brave when in reality it's safe. But I think you do need confidence. You do need to have a point of view. You need to have a perspective. And I think that true ideal of confident being, I'm going to not just stand for something, I'm going to stand up for it. That's, I guess, where this concept of bravery comes from. The idea that if you stand up for something, it takes some kind of gusto, it takes some kind of fortitude, and it shouldn't. And that's kind of what my talk was about today, is we should bring down the fences around this so it doesn't feel brave, it feels much more common sense.
And what's the common mistake that you can notice that people make when we come speaking about the rules, company or personally people?
I think the biggest mistake is that can't be for me. right? So a lot of the times, yeah, but I work at a conservative enterprise. I work at a brand where there's, it's all very well saying you're going to cut the red tape, but you can't in my business. And I think the word can't is the biggest challenge. That, our job should be how, and sometimes it's slow and laborious to get that change, and sometimes it takes this light bulb moment. But if you don't set out with that ambition, you're just going to have a really scripted career. And I think there's this idea that work is a place to go rather than what it is you produce at work. And I think everyone has a collective legacy. And the way I would approach it is by saying, okay, if I'm producing any piece of work, no matter what business I'm in, there's work I'm proud to tell my mates about in the pub, right? That's the base level. But then there's work that I'd be proud to tell my grandchildren I did. And not every day presents that opportunity. But if you're not achieving the first, you're never going to unlock that chance. And I think it's great to be able to say at the end of your career, okay, what did I produce? What did I achieve? And completing tasks isn't really how that's measured. Change is how that's measured, and change requires new things. I think Dave Trott, the great ad man, said the problem with change is it requires change, and most people aren't open to that.
Yeah.
So how would you so say someone's got that initial kind of ambition, it's there and they know and they want to pursue it, but the thing they struggle with the most is that confidence. What would you tell them to do to build that confidence?
I think it's working from an objective, right? It's saying, okay, what's my objective? And then what's my strategy? And then what are the tactics to get me there? In anything. I do this in like a meeting. What's my objective in this meeting? Because at least then you can feel at the end, you can measure whether that progress happened. And I think, I mentioned before, it's not enough to stand for something, stand up for it, but progress is measured in change. And I think confidence can come from that idea of, okay, well, if I'm really in pursuit of this objective, here's what I need to do. So it becomes just more of a, less of a character thing and more of a process driven thing. Okay, what I need to do here is X, Y, and Z in order to deliver the change I want. And then you've got confidence in the plan. You can plan for change, and that can help people who aren't comfortable doing that instinctively.
And if we go back to 1929.
2009.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I mean, if I was around in 1929, I'd be looking pretty good for that.
Sorry about that. But tell me, one piece of advice would you give to young yourself when you're starting, which was from your living room, no clients, no audience, no nobody? Like what piece of advice you would give young yourself now?
I think find the right people. I think surrounding yourself. One thing that's interesting about the confidence question too is culture breeds confidence. Confidence is not an individual thing. Confidence is a freedom to fail, and that's delivered culturally. And trust me, I've failed a lot since 2009, and I think my job as a CEO is failure every single day, because you only win or you learn. They're the only two options. I think that's what I would teach myself. Don't get hung up on the what I would have considered failure before, because that's really where the learning happens.
Thank you so much for being our guest.
No
And
problem. Thank you for inviting me.
Your time. I hope so that you enjoy in South by Southwest like we do. More to come from South by Southwest. Next is Sabrina Carpenter with Busy Woman. Stay with TAFE Radio.